Thanks for watching Ever News Live this Christmas Eve. I'm Francesca Maxime. Here's a look at the top stories making headlines all around the world at this hour. Massacre in Newtown, Connecticut. The NRA now says armed guards in all schools are needed. But those remarks are generating a lot of controversy from both the public and lawmakers alike. An Afghan policewoman has killed an American advisor at police headquarters in Kabul. It is still being investigated whether the attack was an accident or intentional. India's Prime Minister is speaking out and asking the public for calm after protests erupted in the streets of New Delhi, decrying the gang rape of a 23-year-old student who remains hospitalized. And it's a popular rink with an unusual history. We'll take you to New York City's famed Rockefeller Center, where ice skating remains quite the popular winter pastime. Well, the National Rifle Association says armed guards in school are necessary to keep children safe. This coming just 1 week after the deadly shootings at Sandy Hook Elementary in Newtown, Connecticut. And their remarks are generating a lot of controversy from the public and from lawmakers.
The head of the National Rifle Association, or NRA, made no apologies for his stance on how to protect children in the future after the horrific shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary.
If it's crazy to call for putting police and armed security in our school to protect our children, then call me crazy. I'll tell you what, the American people, I think the American people think it's crazy not to do it. It's the one thing that would keep people safe, and the NRA is going to try to do that.
The declaration to have police and security guards carry weapons as they patrol schools came as a surprise to some who are calling for better gun control laws after the deaths of 27 people. In a video address, the president said he would work with Congress to create effective legislation to push for more gun control, which could be agreeable to most people. However, the NRA's unwillingness to work with any new laws has raised concern with leaders in Congress.
Well, I think he's so extreme and so tone-deaf that he actually helps the cause of us passing sensible gun legislation in the Congress. If it involves any new gun regulation.
Well, Idaho Senator Michael Crapo has apologized to his family and to constituents for being arrested and charged with driving under the influence in suburban Washington, D.C. Police say Crapo was stopped for running a red light early Sunday and was arrested after failing sobriety tests. He was released about 4 hours later on an unsecured bond. Police say Crapo registered a blood alcohol level over the legal limit. In a statement, the senator said that he accepts total responsibility and will deal with whatever penalty comes his way. Crapo, a member of the Mormon Church, had previously said that he does not drink alcohol. Well, folks hit hard by Hurricane Sandy in New Jersey are getting into the Christmas spirit despite their overwhelming losses. Volunteers are bringing a helping hand and some Christmas cheer.
This Christmas tree is the surest sign that Union Beach hasn't given up hope after Hurricane Sandy. It was found in the wreckage of the storm and has been adopted by locals since. This house has become another poignant symbol of the wrath the storm wrought. 62 homes are simply gone, ripped up and carried off by Sandy. Some 200 others are uninhabitable, and many more were badly flooded. Volunteers from New Jersey and around the country are working to save the homes that remain, and during the holidays, they're spending long hours trying to give residents reason for cheer. This group is from a church in Maryland.
Right now, everyone's timeline is to try to get something ready for Christmas. So the one home, we just got finished putting flooring down, and she said, I just want to have a tree for my kids. And one of the teams is working on the drywall, and the other team is actually putting together their Christmas tree right now. That's part of their project.
The volunteer corps includes college students who have committed part of their holiday break to helping with cleanup.
We love to work hard. We were lifting like heavy stuff earlier today, and if anything that we can do, if this is what we can do to show love, then this is what we're going to do to show love.
At a firehouse, a makeshift Christmas shop is full of donated items being given out for free, presents for residents who might not be able to afford Christmas otherwise. And there's a special visitor for children, too.
Oh, look at another one. Oh, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Oh, thank you so much.
Elizabeth Carbo's husband is a volunteer firefighter who spent the night of the storm making rescues. Now, as she waits for insurance payments to repair her home, others are returning the favor.
You know, people coming and knocking on the door just saying, hey, what can I do to help, you know? So it's been pretty awesome.
Volunteers know they can't replace what some families here have lost, but their efforts are making the season a little brighter.
Always nice to see. Well, an Afghan policewoman has killed an American advisor at the Kabul police headquarters. Kabul's deputy police chief says they are still investigating whether the killing was intentional or accidental. It is also not known whether the victim was a U.S. military or civilian advisor. NATO's military command says it's looking into reports of the shooting. More than 50 international troops have been killed by Afghan soldiers or police this year, and a number of other assaults, including insider attacks, are still under investigation. NATO forces, due to mostly withdraw from the country by 2014, have stepped up efforts to train and advise Afghan military and police units before the pullout. Well, Syria's information minister showed optimism toward the settlement of the Syrian crisis. He made those remarks during a news briefing in Damascus.
Omran al-Zubi, Syria's information minister, stressed that overseas opposition groups backed up armed terrorists in Syria, and the information they released on the progress of their fighting were entirely groundless. The minister added that the current situation is still controlled by the Syrian government troops. He said all Syrian political parties willing for a political solution are attending the ongoing dialogues to solve the crisis through a peaceful manner. He emphasized that the future of Syria is decided by the Syrian people, and the rejection to dialogues by overseas opposition groups only prolong Syrian suffering. As for the proposal on the political transition raised by the international community, al-Zubi responded that the Syrian government welcomes it, but still needs to exchange details with relevant countries. Meanwhile, the international envoy tasked with ending Syria's civil war hopes to discuss ways of ending the crisis during a visit to Damascus, but there appeared little reason for optimism after a government airstrike on a bakery killed dozens of people. Lakhdar Brahimi, who represents the United Nations and the Arab League, has made little apparent progress towards brokering an end to the violence since he assumed his post in September, mostly because neither side appears interested in talks. Brahimi's trip, his third to Damascus since taking his post, appeared troubled from the start. Instead of flying directly to Syria as he has on previous visits, Brahimi landed in Beirut and traveled to the Syrian capital by land because of fighting near Damascus airport.
Well, authorities have shut down roads in the heart of India's capital today to put an end to week-long demonstrations against the brutal gang rape of a woman on a moving bus. Now, the Prime Minister is appealing to the public for calm.
I appeal to all concerned citizens to maintain peace and calm. I assure you that we will make all possible efforts to ensure security and safety of women in this country.
There has been outrage across India over the December 16th gang rape that left a young woman in critical condition in a hospital. Police used tear gas and water cannons and hit protesters with batons during weekend protests throughout India.
I feel deeply sad at the turn of events leading to clashes between protesters and police forces. Anger at this crime is justified, but violence will serve no purpose.
The 23-year-old victim and her companion were attacked after getting a ride on a chartered bus. Police said men on the bus gang raped the woman and beat her and her companion with iron rods as the bus drove through the city for hours, even passing through police checkpoints. The assailants eventually stripped the pair and dumped them on the side of the road. The victim is being treated for severe internal injuries in a New Delhi government hospital. Thousands of armed police and paramilitary troops blocked roads in central New Delhi on Monday to prevent protesters from marching to the presidential palace.
Well, India and Russia have signed weapons deals worth billions of U.S. dollars as President Vladimir Putin sought to boost ties with an old ally during a visit to New Delhi.
Is a key partner in our efforts to modernize our armed forces and enhance our defense preparedness. A number of giant design, development and production projects are underway in high technology areas.
Indian and Russian officials signed a $1.6 billion deal for 42 fighter jets that will be built in India from Russian components and a $1.3 billion contract for the delivery of 71 military helicopters. Russia and India have shared close ties since the Cold War, when Moscow was a key ally and the principal arms supplier to New Delhi. The ties slackened after the collapse of the Soviet Union, but grew stronger again after Putin came to power in 2000, seeking to revive Moscow's global clout and restore ties with old allies. Well, a prominent Russian opposition leader faces his third investigation in just 5 months as authorities intensify pressure on the opposition. The investigative committee released a statement today saying they launched a new probe against Alexei Navalny, who's already been charged with theft and with fraud and money laundering in 2 separate cases. Investigators now say they also suspect Navalny's company of defrauding the Union of the Right Forces, a now defunct liberal party, of over $3 million back in 2007, alleging that the company received payment and did not carry out any work. Navalny, a charismatic 36-year-old lawyer, made his name exposing corruption in state-controlled companies last winter. He spearheaded a series of street rallies in Moscow that drew up to 100,000 people before March's vote that handed Putin a third presidential term. Well, Egypt's opposition is alleging voter fraud in the constitution after it passed over the weekend. Leaders are now urging the government to investigate and have vowed to use any peaceful means available to prevent the constitution from being carried out.
Egyptians went to the polls and approved a new constitution. That's what state news media said on Sunday, but the headlines made it clear that the political brawl will likely continue. Supporters call it a legitimate constitution, and its passage will be watched across the Arab world. Its approval is a victory for President Mohammed Morsi of the Muslim Brotherhood, claiming it passed with a 64% yes vote.
The referendum is not the end of the road. It's only a beginning in a long struggle over Egypt's future, and we will not allow to change the identity of Egypt or the return of tyranny at all.
The opposition has alleged voter fraud and is now demanding an investigation, a sign that the referendum will not end the turmoil that has roiled this country for nearly 2 years since the uprising that ousted the former president Hosni Mubarak. Egyptians had hoped the new constitution might usher in a period of more stability, but a heated political debate over the past month leading up to the referendum at times erupted into deadly street battles. But there were no mass opposition demonstrations on Sunday after the unofficial results came out, but activists continued to camp out in the capital's Tahrir Square, saying they will continue to oppose the results.
We will also confront any regulations that might come out from the Shura or Upper House, Shura Council or Upper House, which might influence the interests of the people in their future, and we will also work in all democratic means to change this constitution.
Well, will he run or won't he? That is the question on everybody's mind regarding Italy's president, or Italy's, I should say, Mario Monti. Just 2 days ago, the prime minister handed in his resignation and said that he would not run again in February. But now, though, he says that if political parties back his agenda, he will reconsider.
It is still undecided in Italy whether the next elections will be a duel between Berlusconi and the leader of the Democratic Party, Mr. Bersani, or whether there will be 3 competitors.
Monti made clear that he is rejecting an offer from his predecessor, Silvio Berlusconi, to run on a center-right election ticket, citing Berlusconi's heavy criticism of his economic policies. He has, however, also made it clear that he is available to head the next government. Monti's decision ends weeks of speculation that have dominated Italian politics and preoccupied the European Union, which is eager to see Monti's financial reforms continue. Well, about 200 Spanish bank workers protested today against Bankia's plan to fire around 5,000 workers and reduce the rest of the salaries by 40%. Unions want to let Bankia know that they feel the numbers are too high and need to be adjusted. The workers rallied outside the bank's central branch in Madrid, holding banners, waving flags, and chanting. Bankia had to be nationalized in May and was bailed out by the state for 18 billion euros. Spain's national court is investigating the actions of its former board members who have been accused of falsifying the bank's accounts when it went public a year ago. The nation's dire economy has led to the government approving the most austere budget in the history of the Spanish democracy. The budget, approved Thursday, earmarks billions more in spending cuts, including some to the country's unemployment benefits budget. Well, as the annual winter fishing festival in the Northeast at China's Senegal Lake, the fishing gangmaster has caught people's attention for his unique skills in identifying good places to fish. Zhang Wen is the gangmaster of one of the 4 fishing teams in the area. As the leader of a fishing team, Zhang should not only divide the labor among the fishermen, but he also is responsible for pinpointing the places where fish are concentrated. Zhang said that he could remember well the positions that they ever fished, and he had never made any mistakes. It is the duty and the basic skill of a gangmaster to find the right position to cast the net. Zhang Wen, over 50, started working in the fishery of Senegal Lake in 1980, and growing up from a common fisherman to a gangmaster, he depends not only on his diligence but also the wisdom and studious spirit. He says his biggest wish is to pass on the fishing techniques. It should be inherited and never be lost. Well, she made her acting debut at the London Olympics. Now Queen Elizabeth II is hitting the big screen again, but this time it's in 3D. The monarch's traditional Christmas Day message will be filmed in 3D for the first time. It is expected to pay tribute to the world's athletes for delivering a splendid summer of sport at the London Olympics. The 86-year-old head of state provided an Olympic highlight when she made a surprise appearance with James Bond in a short film for the opening ceremony. This year's Christmas Day message was pre-recorded and will go out as expected, but Buckingham Palace said the Queen missed a church service at her country retreat on Sunday due to a cold. Her holiday message culminates a year of celebrations marking the Queen's 60 years on the throne. She looks good. Well, in a country where soccer is more popular than basketball, Senegal's basketball stars of tomorrow are seeing a future of riches. They are practicing hard in hopes of one day playing in the U.S.'s NBA.
Basketball is on the up in Senegal. At the Seeds Academy, the only one of its kind in Africa, these young men are aiming to become professionals. Measuring 2 meters, 23 centimeters tall, Yusufa already has the raw materials to make it big. And like others, he's eyeing a future in the US.
The NBA is the highest level, it's the top.
From the age of 14, the budding basketball players are housed and fed by the Sports for Education and Economic Development Foundation in Senegal. Drawn from the most promising players in the country, the students are looked after in every sense. And here, books are just as important as basketball.
We try to instill human values through sport. We're not just producing basketball players, we're also producing men. Men who can be of use to Senegal, Africa, and the world.
Since 2003, nearly 300 players have passed through the academy. 40 of them went on to American universities, with one, Mohamed Seni, making the leap to the NBA itself. And the people at Seeds hope that the current trickle of players coming out of Senegal will one day become a torrent.
Africa is the future of basketball. Nature has been kind to Africans, and now we need to familiarize the guys with the game itself.
The Seeds project is looking to take root in other parts of Senegal as it tries to promote basketball in a country where, until now at least, football has been king.
When it comes to winter activities in New York City, ice skating at Rockefeller Center is certainly one that tops the list. Though, as Ebru's Anna Berry reports, the ring's history is a fascinating one. It kind of all happened by accident.
Woo! One of the best places to be in New York City over the holiday season is on ice. Since 1936, the Rockefeller Center ice rink has been the quintessential New York City winter destination. Originally created by the Rockefeller family as a temporary attraction, it is now a national historic landmark and top tourist destination for families around the world.
The owners, the Rockefellers, were looking for something to draw people to the middle concourse area here. And they brought in an architect from Cleveland 1 year in the late 30s, and he built a temporary ice skating rink. And it was such a huge draw. That's how it all began.
For those who want the ultimate Rock Center rink experience, there are delicious restaurants like the Sea Grill and Rock Center Cafe, both overlooking the rink. And now they're offering a new VIP express skating option.
We have the VIP Lounge, which is a skip-the-line program where people can make reservations on our website, www.therinkatrockcenter.com.
The rink draws people out on the ice for all different occasions. With 30 rocks soaring 850 feet above you, the 8-ton cast-iron Greek god of Prometheus, and 200 international flags surrounding you, what better backdrop to celebrate birthdays and engagements? Sometimes the rink holds up to 6 engagements a day.
First time in New York, first time at the Rockefeller.
Yeah, we love it. We don't really want to leave, but unfortunately we have to.
So you had to come skate? Definitely. It's like Christmas in a can here.
Top of the list. There's nothing more festive than this.
It's the perfect place for first-time skaters to practice the art of falling, and a favorite spot for skating aficionados who like to show off their skills for a captive audience. Because at Rock Center, if you are old enough to walk, you are old enough to skate.
But it's nothing like skating here, just the ambiance, the feeling, you know. I'm a performer by heart, and I love this. I love the people watching me, and you know, it's nothing like skating by the tree, and it's a beautiful place. I look forward to it every year. I'm a season pass member anyway.
As you can see, people from all over the world love to spend a day on ice at the historic Rockefeller Ice Rink. We've all fallen a couple of times, but hey, that's life. You just get up and keep on skating. Happy holidays. I am Anna Berry for Ebru News.
Looks like she's having a good time. All right, well, looking to go into the new year with a new ride, perhaps? Well, luxury cars, they used to get a bit of a bad rap for putting performance first above all else, but now that is changing.
Luxury cars have long been criticised for putting performance ahead of the environment. But Ferrari's California 30 epitomises the company's new philosophy: increased performance while reducing emissions.
On average, we try to add about 100 horsepower from one model to the next, whilst cutting carbon dioxide by around 30 grams.
In order to do this, the brand has embraced lighter technology and adapted certain methods that's used in Formula One racing. At this factory in Emilia-Romagna, trees have been planted in between the machines to control humidity in the air. And in the coming months, it's expected a hybrid car will be unveiled.
Vettura ibrida intesa, però vettura ibrida Ferrari.
It's a hybrid, yes, but a hybrid Ferrari means we have to work on how to retain energy, for example during braking, and we need to work on using this stored energy not only to reduce energy consumption, but also to enhance the pleasure of driving a Ferrari.
Il feeling di guidare una Ferrari.
After record sales for the past 2 years, Ferrari's hoping 2012 will be as successful. During 2011, 7,200 Ferraris were sold worldwide, up almost 10% on 2010. And for the first time ever, sales have hit more than €2 billion.
Opportunità crediamo ce ne siano in tutto il mondo.
Well, we think there are opportunities all around the world. Of course, there are markets where we're more cautious, like Europe, for example. But on the other hand, there are markets where the economy is growing and will continue to grow, like in Asia and China.
Tutti I mercati asiatici, inclusa la Cina.
In a bid to rein in the customers, Ferrari offers custom-made designs to suit every taste, and demand is strong. Around 98% of clients opt for a tailor-made Ferrari, adding an additional 50% to the cost of the vehicle.
All right, well, thank you so much for watching this Christmas Eve edition of Ebru News Live. I'm Francesca Maxime. Merry Christmas to you. We'll see you back here again tomorrow.